What is up, everybody? I'm Jay,
I'm Christy.
and this is episode 12 of the Trading Floor podcast. And I'm very, very excited to bring you this podcast. As y'all could see here, if you watch on YouTube,
Yeah.
there are a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
There are a lot of faces that you might recognize. Well, obviously you recognize me and Christy, I hope. But then you have Ken and you actually have Tom down at the bottom, down under, aka Lemons. And welcome back,
G'day.
guys. Good day. Hey, good day.
Thank you.
What's up, Kim? And we also have some new people here. We have Josiah on the left, we have YY in the middle, and we have Todd on the right side. What's up,
Hi,
guys?
guys.
Welcome to the
Hello.
podcast.
Hi, everybody. It's exciting to see new faces. I'm excited to see new people. So
No,
we just went through the whole introduction that you guys didn't watch, but yeah, anyway, it was kind of fun. I'm so used to seeing the same faces.
Yeah, it's nice to see new people, and we can't wait to get their insight. So, Chris, there was a lot of exciting things happen this season in Strategy Wars. As I had just previously stated, we just finished up season 2 Strategy Wars. It's very exciting. We had a lot of twist happen. Obviously, twist in the normal weekly twist, but we had some surprising outcomes.
Yeah, we definitely did. So what was really exciting that we saw was from the time of November 1st to the 23rd, we did a regular season, which was like 17 regular trading days, like nothing really crazy. But then we went into playoffs, which is a little bit different. We kind of had that sports theme to it. And we were doing like kind of where the teams kind of like played each other off in playoffs, and like you would get beat out. Like the team that did best that day would advance. So because of that, DeLorean, who is usually like been triumphing when it comes to this, actually got knocked out in round 2, which was like definitely an upset.
Shots fired.
And the brute force butchers took them over that day. Congratulations to them for doing that. And they snuck right on in and ended up winning, which was like, I kind of called it. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I think they're the dark horse.
You did,
It was
yeah, you did say that
definitely was a
multiple
surprise.
times at this point now.
I know, I was right. Anyway, but I was really, really surprised. But congratulations to them, because that was really cool to see them do that, especially after you're working on the revamp and all that with that strategy. So I'm really happy to see them go from 6th place last season to like winning it all this season. So that was really, really cool to see. So congratulations to that team. But we do have other teams here. Everybody's kind of representing their teams, and we're going to find out a little bit more from them about how their experience was with this season and what they thought. So let's get into talking to some of them.
Yeah, we're going to segment into the Butchers now, who are the Season 2 Strategy War champions. And on the podcast today, we have Ken, who is the captain, and Josiah, who's actually a newbie coming into Strategy Wars, but did damn good in Strategy Wars.
Damn.
We're going to start off with
Good.
we're going to start off with Ken first. So Ken, I know you did 3-line strike last season, but how did it feel kind of being able to captain your own team for Brute Force, and then you actually pulled out the dub as well?
It was awesome. Amazing. The group of people, albeit small, that we had are amazing. And Josiah here, as you'll talk about here in a little bit, just killed it. So yeah, it was just amazing. And next time I'm not going to be on a vacation or a cruise. That's kind of what screwed me up this season.
That was actually really impressive, though. He was like traveling, kind of doing some cross-country stuff,
crappy
and
internet
like on a cruise, and he still was like, working with it. So that's like big kudos there, because I don't know, that's hard to do. So
well,
that was dedication to it. But yeah, definitely did good. But that was thank you for taking on. As a lot of you guys might not know, Ken works with us. He is a staff member with us in TTF, and we did kind of throw that revamp on him like less than a week or so before Strategy War started. We're like, do what you can,
True.
There you go. So we appreciate you taking that on as like a challenge, but he's been around for a while, so you did great at like adapting to it pretty quickly and helping the others do it. So huge thank you to you for stepping up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
In that room and help them while on a cruise and all that. But you look tan. You look great.
Hey, I've actually been really sick too, on top of everything. So
everyone is.
I know. I feel like everybody's been
kind of getting back to it. So, but what I'd like to do is just take the foundation of what we've done this season, and I got little notes here. and continue to improve on brute force and this version, and with the help of the team and everything going forward. Also would like to get more traders involved. Since we had a low number of traders, so hopefully, coming in first place will
Could
There'll be a
bring some more
bandwagon.
traders over,
Yeah.
And one of my goals also is to get more traders involved in the channel. Don't be so intimidated or have that fear. You're not going to be judged at all. We're all here for the same purpose, to improve ourselves as traders and to help others as well. So,
Ken, you'll be surprised to find out how many people join Butchers when you win, because StairMaster was so small season 1. StairMaster was the brute force Butchers. We had I think 11 people who were actually active traders in season 1. And all of a sudden, season 2, we are the biggest team because we are a second place team. So I'm sure you will see that you have a lot more members in season 3 in your team just because you won. People want to be on the
it's like you're saying now. I mean, you have a lot of people on your team, but
we were the largest this season. We won from the smallest.
How many of them actually traded?
A lot. That's why we stayed in second.
About half.
Actually,
about half of them actually.
Oh,
the participation was very good. I have to say, StairMaster, I was blown away. You can even ask Jay, because I thought for sure we would be like third or fourth.
What I want to highlight mainly for brute force is my man Josiah here. Josiah was one of the 5 perfect traders this month, and so I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious on what did you think about Strategy Wars? What did you most improve on? What did you expect? Did you expect this? I mean,
I didn't at all, actually. Yeah. But a huge issue before Strategy Wars for me was just hopping back and forth. And I was the stereotypical guy of, if I had a couple bad days with the strategy, I was like, oh, this thing's trash.
Throw it out.
But luckily, you didn't even give me a couple of days with Brute Force V2. So we got it right before.
That's good.
The timing was perfect.
Yeah. And the new indicator, it gives less signals, but I think the big thing was just being patient for the signals, and then you capitalize on the big winners. Christy had mentioned a couple podcasts ago, about trailing stops and stuff. And I looked into that. I had never even knew much about it before that. But if you wait for the good signal and then you set a good trailing stop, I mean, you can ride those EMAs because they don't always cross back over if the trend's going up.
Yeah, when we showed it to you guys, obviously we 1.5 just because it's easy for testing and to do the math. But when we were looking at it, we're some of these runners are nice. Yeah. And we had suggested that when we released the revamp, if you can trail, you should let it trail, because those winners will really help.
And a lot of the days I posted, I had decent sized losses compared to my account, but it was then there would be a trade at the end of the day that ran pretty good. Yeah. 2 almost $300 losses, and then $700-800 winner at the end of the day. It's
as long as you're keeping that risk management and then you allow it to run when you do get the winner, it can really definitely be worth it with brute force, which is what I think we really liked about the revamp. Like we said, we do the 1.5 and we show the potential with a 1.5, but we knew that there was way more left on the table as far as the potential profits with brute force with the revamp. So we're this could be really good. If somebody can figure out how to crack that code, which you guys did, you obviously did. Congratulations. It took you a month. You did the month, but you did it. So congrats. That's huge to go from what you're saying to go to having a perfect month. That has to be a confidence booster for you.
Yeah, so and a big thing is too, if I'm a big momentum trader, so you can filter out a lot of bad EMA signals just by seeing if it has momentum. Mm-hmm. And I think I sent to the group multiple times. Once I had sent that to the group, it was or maybe one of the guys DM me, I think, and it was if there's not momentum on the bigger time frames, you're gonna get faked out, because a lot of my entries were on the 1 minute, but it was because the 5 minute and the 15 minute had the momentum as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always. I mean, multi-time frame analysis for any of these strategies or for anything that you're doing is always going to help for sure. But that's awesome. I love to hear that you were doing that. But the momentum, I'm a momentum trader, so
yeah,
you know,
momentum's your friend. But I'm pretty sure I remember
awesome.
you asking me actually at the beginning of the season if futures was allowed, and I was like, yeah, of course futures was allowed. But I'm pretty sure at the end of the season, I saw you trading Forex as well. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I signed up for a eval.
Nice.
So I'm
Ooh.
actually trading it right now.
how's that
Oh,
going?
congrats.
I'm hoping to finish it before this volume just says "see you later."
We still like the first 2 weeks of December aren't that bad.
Yeah.
They can get like worse than usual, but like you should be fine.
Yeah, I'm up like I think that last day I sent the screenshot. It's like 1,300 because I started at the week of finals.
Oh,
So-
okay. Well, you have time. You have
Yeah,
time.
but I'm up 1,300 last week, and it's a $25,000 account, so we should be good.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Well, take your time with it. Stay
Yeah, that's
up. Don't
awesome.
do anything risky. If you feel like volume starts to drop off, my suggestion would be just wait. Stay in profit and wait for the retry. Email them. Say, hey, I want to wait till after the holidays and I want to do the retry then. If you feel like you can't pass it in time, don't do anything crazy. Don't go YOLO on that account. It won't
All
pay
right.
off for you, I promise. All right. Well, congratulations. That's really awesome to hear.
Thank
And awesome to hear that you are a newer trader coming in, kind of pulled a lemons here, a Tom situation, what he did in season 1, where he just
True.
came in, he's like, I don't know, I just like took the kangaroos and it did well.
Just
So-
took those rocket ships.
Yeah.
How
Only
new
time
were
they
you?
sent out a
Josiah?
strategy with some of the TRAMA, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
It's like if it's not
Yeah, the
below
TRAMA.
it or above it, given the trend, he was like, "Don't take it,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was like a pretty simple thing to stick by as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
sure.
liked the look of that when I had a little look at it. I had a little peek at brute force as well, but I like the look of that indicator.
Lemons.
Yeah, the revamp was nice. The revamp. Jay
You
says
could
I
don't
think-
do
I
that.
think,
blind and
yeah,
still
I
be
think
pretty good.
That's awesome. But I think a
Uh,
big thing for brute force, I think Ken was able to talk about this at the beginning, was the trauma indicator that he kind of implemented. So if y'all looking about that, TRAMA, look that up on TradingView. You know who it's by?
Lux Algo.
It's by Lux. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
It's one of their free ones, guys. You don't have to buy it. That's a free
No.
one they offer. So you could use their free one with it, which is nice that they do that too.
So let's get into the people that are really good at coming up runners up in strategy wars, these samurai. Congratulations on being the first losers 2 seasons in a row.
I'm going to disagree and say that we're the strongest strategy because we were the smallest team and people said, oh, you had weighted points. Then we were the largest team and we're still consistently second place. Like we have the most consistent strategy. That's my take on this. So
No,
anyway,
I agree.
I am bitter.
So-
I can't win strategy wars for the life of me.
So in strategy wars for the Stairmaster, Christy was also one of the 5 people who finished a perfect month as well. But
Yeah, can we talk about how amazing it is though that season 1 there was 2 people who were perfect. Season 2 there's 5 people that are perfect, and that's insane to me. Like I think
And-
it's so cool to see the progression of you guys. Like it's really really amazing, and a tough month. Not gonna lie, there was like
No,
some days
true.
where I
No,
was like,
this-
yikes,
yeah,
this
this
is a
month-
tough month.
this month was tough.
Yeah.
But it
And the
doesn't
week of
stop
finals
there.
was like a news week. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, like there were some days where like, oh, I would never tell people to trade these days, but like the championship games and stuff like that. So congratulations
Points
to
are on the line.
everybody. Yeah, everyone who finished perfect. Like huge congrats to you guys.
But it doesn't stop there because we also have Todd here on the
Todd,
podcast,
amazing.
who was another person who finished perfect. So now we have talked.
Yeah.
So now we are talking and have talked to 3 of the 5 perfect traders this month. So Todd,
Yes.
what's up?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah.
So what I want to
Todd
go
is
over,
a doll. I want to just because
Yeah.
Todd's from my team. So Todd is a doll. What a sweetheart. You were new this season, as far as Stairmaster goes, right? You weren't in it last season.
Last season I was 3-line strike.
Yeah.
And I was so bad. I mean, I couldn't buy a winner to save my life, but
You know what, Todd? Go
But-
ahead and
but-
talk shit
but-
about him. There's
but
no
actually-
3-line strikers here.
no. I'm not.
True.
I'm not talking shit about them because I know that so many people actually traded very well. But for me,
Yeah.
it really was not a good fit. But it was still like a really important experience for me because I was like classic strategy hopper. And so like
Mm.
even trading a strategy that didn't work for me for a month, I got better at it. And it actually gave me the confidence the second time around to
To
stick
do
with
it.
StairMaster. So definitely was not wasted time the first season. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
you are awesome. You did so good, and you were very sweet in the chats, very active, very helpful. There was a bunch of people in there, like huge thanks to a lot of people. But coming in as a vet of like season one, but changing strategies. I mean, you always get heat for changing your strategies too. But I think you did amazing this season, and
Thank you.
I would like to know like from three line striker experience where that is more based around a candle pattern versus stairmaster which works more off of momentum and breakout trading, like did you find that one of them resonated? Well, obviously you did good with stairmaster, but did you find that it was easier for you to like visualize the charts better, or like did it click better? Like was something better for you or easier for you versus the other one, or did you think it was just a confidence thing in general?
Well, I kind of looked at it from the approach of, okay, what wasn't working for me? And in the first season, I had the 3-line strike indicator, and then I had like 9 other indicators and it was so much overload. And what attracted me to Stairmaster was the way you showed it on the YouTube video. It was very simple. And so I thought if I could just kind of take the proof of concept and then not overcomplicate it. So the way that I decided to trade it was I used a lot of Brutus's higher time frame analysis, and I would decide, and I only traded the NAS, so I was just focused on that, and I said, okay, which way do I think the NAS is going to go on the 1 hour? And then I turned off all the alerts for the other direction. So I was
That's
only
good.
looking for one trade, and if it didn't come, then I didn't trade it. But when it did come, it gave me the confidence to trade it. And a couple times the signal came and it was right up against that 15-minute,
Like the mid-level or
yeah, the
mid-zone, right?
mid-level. And I said, I'm going to take it anyway, because on the higher time frame, I have a feeling like it's going to break. And then if not, I don't mind risking 1%. And more often than not, it would actually then break through and run. And although I didn't do it on the actual Stairmaster account, in my other funded account, I actually passed a couple of challenges by kind of combining the Brutus's higher time frame method, but getting some of the lower time frame entries from Stairmaster. But so thank you, Christy, because it
Yeah,
was,
you're
I mean, it was
welcome.
basically just me kind of following that. So
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I love to hear that. And I do that too. It's a multi-time frame analysis thing where you trend down. I love that you actually suggested turning off the alerts for the opposite direction, which you guys can do. You can customize that in your alerts. I think that's actually great advice for newer traders who like struggle with this. Like, is this a reversal? Like you'll see a little bit of a retracement and it's not the move you want to get in. You want to still be sticking with the higher overall trend. And a lot of times people will see like, a rejection or something off one of those levels. You do all the right thing with marking the levels, but then you are getting in a retracement and you get in way too late. You missed whatever little retracement you might have potentially been able to get. And then the market, gets the liquidity, hits whatever it needs to hit, whatever level, and then goes back in its direction. And a lot of times people misinterpret that. So I think what you suggested there is a great tip for people to do, especially if you're still newer and you're trying to figure out how to do that and not to be tempted to take all of those signals, because there's so many false signals. Like these aren't perfect indicators. We know that. We never claim they are. You're going to get false signals.
Wait,
It's about
really?
learning. Yeah. I mean, there's no magical indicator out there, guys. Trust me, if there was, everybody would be making tons of money. You have
Yes,
to do the
facts.
work. You have to learn how to weed out those false signals. But doing something like that, as simple as like turning off, looking at the higher time frame, look at the overall trend, turn off the signals for the opposite way, and then using those key levels, that's huge. Super simple thing to do. And also I think mentally will help you to not get overwhelmed with too many signals. It'll keep you in one direction. So I love that, Todd.
yeah,
Thank you for suggesting that.
thanks. The other, just real quick, the other 2 small things I did were I used um, I think it was Brandon who posted a video of how he trades, and he said he uses I think it was the stock RSI on the 5-minute.
Yeah.
So I actually would have that on my chart as well, and that would be a really good confirmation. So for most of the month, I did pretty well. That last week, though, was really difficult because I was like trading between like these huge red news events, and there was a lot of basically where the market was just kind of standing still. And that's when I think this is really hard to trade, because you're getting all these signals and there's room, but the market just doesn't go anywhere. And then, so that's kind of still a challenge for me, is like, how do you know when there's a move, and how do you know when it's consolidating? So maybe I'll have to talk to Josiah about checking the momentum or something. But
yeah. There is no momentum build off that. So if you added something momentum wise, that could help. There's volume, but momentum and volume together would be better. But you have room to add in indicators and do whatever.
What I like to say as well, because I did most of the judging with submissions, is that Todd actually did something that majority of StairMaster traders don't.
I was gonna say this, so Jerry Solo, but go ahead.
Yeah,
this is good.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
We are. Yeah.
But what I liked about it is StairMaster majority of the time was like sought after to be like a mixed and like a New York. We for those who don't know, like we kind of coined the term mixed whenever London and New York kind of intertwine, and then we call it New York whenever London closes. But StairMaster was more of kind of like a mixed in New York type of vibe. But majority of Todd's trades, or it might be all, well, I think some of them might have been London, but majority of them were Asian trades.
Asian into London, that like overlap time, yeah. And I was always like, this is like, you were always like the first when we would go through our day. We're like,
yeah, so I'm like, all right, where's Todd? Like Todd's like the
Yeah.
benchmark of where I know like the day starts. It's like, all right,
which was
Todd's
good.
first.
But it was cool to see that, because I think even in season 1 there were some London traders, RJ and Luke. Shout out to you guys. Some of
Shout
my
out to Team Rook.
that's the couple we're talking about, the new trading couple we were talking about before you guys heard us start this podcast. They are the new Ben. So the Barons Ben.
They weren't able to join. They weren't able to join this podcast, but they were the veterans. Christy was the all-star, and RJD and Luke were the veterans.
And I big shout out to them too, because they are also extremely helpful. Doug was another one who was new this season, extremely helpful in that room. So I just had to say, Todd, another one, you were so helpful. Like, huge shout out to all of the people. I know I'm missing names, so I'm so sorry to all of you guys. But I just remember being like, wow, this is a big team. This is going to be a lot for me to take on as a vet, to work with all these brand new traders. And you guys, like, at one point I would just check the chats and I was like, wow, they're just doing it themselves. Okay. Like, they're super self-sufficient. And I think it is nice that you guys learn from each other. It's one thing to have me do it. It's another thing to watch yourselves progress, and like watching that person you started with on day one, like, doing well. So I think that there's something really beautiful about that. So huge congratulations, Todd. And Todd, like I said, he's just like a little doll babe. Like, oh my God, like, just the nicest things. Such a sweetheart in the room. Everybody was very friendly in there. So I was very, very happy with StairMaster, this team. Like, this season, it was so good. So thank you very much, Todd, for everything. And huge congrats to you. When we would see your posts, like, we were like, first off, we knew where to start the day. And also we were like, risk management's good. Like, he's so good. Like, you were one of the easy ones. When we saw your post, we're like, he's fine, sticks to his plan. So you were the dream person to have. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. And thanks for all your support. Really appreciated.
I'm excited to see you progressing. I'm glad that season 2, you went from season 1 having a horrible experience, season 2 a better experience. Like, who knows what season 3 will hold for you, if you're gonna do season 3.
Speaking of threes, Chris, let's talk about the third place team.
He's gonna come over.
What a segue!
The butchers.
Oh, yeah. What a segue! I'm getting really good at this. But I mean, like, wrapping it up with the Samurai guys. Like, if y'all are interested in season 3 of Strategy Wars and you want to finish second place, then join the StairMaster Samurai. So, getting into third place, we got my boy Lemons on the mic. What's up, bro?
G'day, mate. How's it going?
Good day. Good day, of course. Good day.
You got me up at 3 a.m. in the morning again?
It seems like you kind of like this type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the cat's in the household like this time of the morning, so that's the reason I'm up.
Yeah, man. Like, well, what do you want to say?
Where'd she go? No, I was gonna say, where'd she go? She was super cute. She was very, like, into the camera. She was like, "Excuse me, Dad, I'm on camera."
She's very used. My wife, she's always doing Zoom. This is her setup.
This is her.
But she's in Perth at the moment, so I've stolen her setup. But whenever she's on her Zoom calls, cats just walk past her, just swipe her with the tail while she's in the middle of these really important meetings, and one of them just will just stare straight down the camera at everyone else.
Yeah.
And my wife is just like trying to talk and kind of looking around her, talking about really important stuff, and it's like, yep, this
You
is my
gotta
cat.
love cats. You gotta love cats. No shame.
It's their world. It's their world. You're just living in it.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
Anyway, guys, congratulations on third place for Outback. It's
Yeah, it's
again,
bump
one
up.
step up. We'll just keep
Yeah,
on, keep on rising.
we finished
did much
fourth last
better.
season. Now we finished third. So I mean, 2 seasons from now, I mean, y'all might as well not even compete. So that's all I'm saying.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
but Tom, how did this season go
Yes.
for you?
It was pretty good. A couple of habits from the first season, wanting to get points and whatnot, came back for me. But on the whole, when I stuck to my, do my analysis, and then what I tended to do is after I made the trade, I just is it Ian that suggested just marking up some alerts on the trading view and then just walking away. And then coming back to it when you see an alert pop. I think that really helped for me.
Yeah, that's something I know that Ian struggled with back when we met him.
AKA Alp, in case y'all don't know.
Yeah. And I know, and that's something that I normally do. We've already talked about it. 1 minute drives me crazy, but I do it for strategy wars. But I like alerts. I live and die by my alerts, because if not, you do go crazy staring at the charts. You start to talk yourself out of things. So
absolutely,
it's
especially the
amazing
longer
to
the
stick as
session
well.
goes, the session goes into it. If you're starting at say 4 p.m. my time, and you're just staring, like the Outback is a very sort of, even though it's a 1 minute, it's a slow, it may take a few hours for your first signal to pop.
Yeah.
And so you'll kind of look at it, and I know when I first started this time around, you kind of see one little tiny signal go in the other direction. It's like, oh, that's obviously it. I'll go for that one. And then it will suddenly disappear, and then it will shoot back the other direction. So yeah, probably I might do what Todd did and take a look at the higher time frame analysis and maybe turn off those opposite.
Jay should be teaching you guys that. Just saying.
Yeah, I think that's a really good bit of advice, actually.
I'm just kidding.
Because so many times I'll be like, oh, it's going to reverse, but then it doesn't. It just goes back to where you came, and and that's one of the other things that sometimes when you're looking at trades and kind of taking trades, and it's like, oh, is it going to reverse on me? And then it doesn't. It's like, oh, I'll get out now, and then it keeps going another 2 or 3 hour.
That sucks.
I think something interesting, because for indice traders, you really don't have much options. I mean, you could trade the S&P, you could trade NAS, and you could trade Dow. If you're in the US, obviously, if you're in London, you could trade multiple other things, kind of like the FTSE, the DAX, German 30, whatever. But for Forex, you normally don't really see a person sticking to just one pair. And I mean, Lemons has been devoted to AU, and he's literally able to, in season 1 he did great, in season 2 he did great as well, and that's literally all just from one Forex pair. He has all other 27 pairs just hey, you want to trade me? He's like, nah, I don't like you. So he's he literally just trades AU, and he's done great with it. And who knows, maybe since you've done so well with AU, who knows, maybe going forward in season 3, you can look to add maybe 1 or 2 pairs. That way you might.
I think
that's
Jay's add 1 or 2 more pairs.
So that
that's
way
a subtle way of saying just do it.
We need more points.
I mean, it's just the fact that a lot of the times, even if you're a newer trader or a more advanced trader, if you could feel the urge of wanting to trade. And if you only have 1 pair, you're kind of stuck in the fact that okay, I really want to trade this, and you start kind of
creating things that aren't there. Yeah,
you start
forcing a trade.
Yeah, you just start talking yourself into it. But you know what? This isn't the ideal setup, but I could see it happening because of X thing. So that would be my only advice for you, Mr. Lemons. But I mean, you've
I think
done fantastic.
The reason I chose Australia, US, one, because I know the Australian,
You know your
situation,
dollar,
how
which
we're
makes
doing.
sense. Yeah,
And
you live
it's
there.
pretty clear what the US dollar is doing at the moment,
For now.
But and also it's quite a slow pair.
Yeah.
So you do have that little, I kind of have a, the kind of slower indicator and also the slower pair. But now that I've kind of, had, what was it? I started back in July, and what is it, November now? So a few months under my belt now. Yeah, I think I will take the time over Christmas and just have a look. I've done my markings up on all the ETFs now, so I'll be looking into doing that, and then start that in the new year, I think.
That's a big jump. You're going from this low all USD. You don't
We'll
even
see
touch,
how it
like,
goes. Hey,
none of the faster
I
pairs.
believe.
You're just like
I
right
believe.
to
if it crashes and burns, then I'll just go back to AU. No harm, no foul.
No, I mean, I agree with Jay. I think for you, now that you're going to be going into a season 3, you have some time now, downtime with the holidays coming up. I think for you to start progressing yourself and pushing yourself a little bit, you have something you're comfortable with, which I always say, start with 1 to 3 pairs and master them. You should not be looking at all of the Forex pairs. That's too much for a beginner, but you have done this where you've mastered one, you've mastered the strategy now. Now it's time for you to start to figure out, like, where can you potentially have, like, how can you expand it so you could have even better entries. So you're not taking subpar entries when all USD isn't working that day in your favor. You can find a better, stronger entry on a different pair that you're comfortable with.
One of the things I was looking at in the last sort of week or so was just pairs that correlated similar to it as well. So Aussie US or New Zealand US or Aussie Japan, they're all kind of similarly correlated. But I've noticed that once I got the pairs up on the screen, I'll look at Australia US and go, that's an okay kind of signal. But over here, like Euro US, that's my perfect. And I just never did it because I haven't really back tested properly. So but I would go back maybe an hour later. I was like, yeah, it did exactly what it said it was going to do. So might have to
place your little phantom trades, like Ori likes to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am very proud of you, though, for progressing the way you have. My last question for you is, compared to season 1 to season 2, where you had pretty quick success in season 1, how do you feel that compares to you now with season 2? Like, how did you feel about season 2?
I pretty much felt the same, to be honest.
Oh,
Good.
It's as easy as that, guys. Like, it's really...
like I said, there were a couple of bad habits that came back on a few days that I hung around the screen and kind of kept an eye on my trade. But I think when I spoke to the Outback team when we started, I think I put a big emphasis on not taking it too seriously. Like, do your analysis, do your back testing and whatnot, but don't be too hard on yourself, and don't get too much into the twists and the mind games that people are going to play. And
they were much more subtle for season 2, to be fair. Season 1 was more like corrupt, where the teams would mess with each other. Season 2 was more just like Jay just being crazy with a twist. It was just Jay. But I think I agree
just
with
doing
you.
Jay
That's
things.
Good. But yeah, we do put those twists in there. There's all different level traders that come in, and we know people have been very adamant about not liking the twist. But we already said this. We don't.
But
really
they're there for a reason.
Yeah, we don't really care. We're probably going to keep them. We keep scores. We keep like a ton of numbers, so you guys can see what your teams would have done. We keep separate things for you guys, so you can track your progress. But the twists are there for a reason. And as a newer trader, maybe you do find them frustrating, in which case take Tom's advice here. Ignore them. Just focus on your trading. Ignore them. They're not there for you. Those twists are there for the people who are ready to start, like, potentially going for funded accounts or a little more experience.
People just fabricate like all kind of challenges that just you can't control.
Yeah. So you can just kind of start to have a little more pressure on yourself in a way that, like, you wouldn't be in control of. And sometimes as you start to progress, you need a little bit of that kind of uncomfortableness to start to push you to a different level. Because you can get complacent very quickly. And if you're complacent and you're doing well, that's great. But if you're trying to learn how to push yourself a little bit and get out of that comfort zone, which, as you get profitable, I do suggest you start to do that. Then these are the kind of things that we put in place for those type of traders. So there's a little bit for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Why? So patiently waiting.
True.
Sorry. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. So patiently waiting. And I feel like DeLorean came in we should have started with you probably. Maybe my bias towards DeLorean. DeLorean technically finished the normal season first place. You guys stole first from StairMaster last minute, and
Jeez.
it is what it is. Congratulations. But no, DeLorean is a great team, and I've said this multiple times, even season 1. I love them. I love their vibes in that room. Super supportive of each other, and I'm going to just give it to you now to talk about DeLorean. You can tell us about your experience, what you thought, all that.
Yeah. So, in season 1 of Strategy Wars, I was part of the StairMasters. And one thing that I took away from there is, in filtering out which signals to take, is I didn't really know a lot about price action or market structure. And so along the way, and, studying and trying to figure out where my edge is, I discovered all the Hawks videos and his streams, and the more that I watched those, the patterns that he talked about paired with the divergences, it really started making sense. For the first time, it felt like when I would back test that strategy, I would actually get in the market and in the right direction for a change. And so that really piqued my interest in DeLorean. And so that's why I chose DeLorean for season 2. And I think the biggest thing that helped me was I would, my favorite time to trade was opening and mixed. And I would do my best, and trying to pick out the good trades, and get as close to 1% as I could. And then 1% was kind of my goal. And then once I hit 1%, I was out for the day. Because the worst thing is trading and then, making 1% and then erasing it.
Yeah, losing all back.
And that's actually extremely smart. And for you were another one, we were noticed, you were a very consistent one with that. And there are a lot of people who overtrade DeLorean. And as you can tell, or if anybody has messed with the DeLorean in here before you guys picked your teams, it's very easy to overtrade DeLorean because it is a 1-minute time frame strategy, and there are a lot of signals that you will get. But you have to know the price action. You have to be trading it DeLorean with the other confluences, the way that Hawks and Roxy show it, because that's what will weed out all of those false signals and help you to start getting in the market, like what you're saying, at the place where you want to be getting in at. And DeLorean does need a little revamp. We already know that. We want to help trying to weed out those signals, because we know there's some late ones that lag a little bit. There's some that are a little bit too often. So it's on our agenda to work with the DeLorean indicator and kind of get it filtered out a little bit better. But as far as the price action that team has done, the stuff that you guys do on DeLorean, it's just on another level. We've said it before, it's probably the hardest strategy to trade with the indicator, I think, in my opinion, because it's a 1-minute time frame. You're kind of stuck to NASDAQ. A lot of people like NASDAQ. You're not really stuck to NASDAQ. You could trade other things, but everybody in there likes NASDAQ. And along with that, that puts you on a 1 session, 1 pair, 1 indicator that's we know needs to be paired with other things, price action. So it's tough. That is a tough strategy. So as well as it's been doing, you guys are definitely extremely good at what you're doing in there and on another level. So huge congratulations for knowing that you need to step up and learn something more to help. I think that you learned it, and you could probably come back to StairMaster now and it'd be fine.
What I will say though, before we had started, was Miss YY is the 4th out of the 5th perfect trader this month.
Yeah.
The perfect trader of
Olive.
DeLorean. And as far as judging all of our entries, like she says, very good risk management. Basically 1 to 3 trades every single day from what I've seen.
On the lower end of a lot of the DeLoreans, and we're and you're doing exactly it. Take your money, get out is what you should do.
And she passed 2 free funded trials as well, so made at 10% plus.
Nice.
You probably passed 3 more by this time, but. But yeah, how'd that go with your funded trials, and are you thinking about doing a funded account?
Yeah, so I'm excited to do a real funded account now, but with December coming up,
yeah,
a little bit. But another thing that I appreciated about Strategy Wars and trading every day is, just like you guys said, just sticking to the NASDAQ on 1 minute. if it's not like Forex where you can go and look at different pairs. And so it taught me, like, there are definitely some days where I definitely wouldn't have traded that day. But in trying to be consistent and get a point and be profitable every day, I think like it helped me recognize what are the good days and what are the bad days and what do they look like. There's days where it's like the structure, like the patterns and everything, like I could totally recognize. And then other days it's just, I don't know what it's doing. And it's interesting too, like even something that I used was something that Todd mentioned was keeping in mind like what Brutus, his markups for the week and kind of like in the direction that things were going. I have a different chart layout where I label it swing trades, and I do the markups over where it's headed. And so that also kind of helped me each day, just figure out just what it was doing and what direction the market was going that day. So I think that's another thing that helped me.
Yeah, that's good. Especially when you're on the 1 minute time frame. You need to be looking at the higher time frame because you will get lost. You will get lost on the 1 minute and 5 minute, maybe even the 15 if you haven't really been good with it. You will get lost in those markets if it's a consolidation type of day or it's just like throwing liquidity wicks and things like that. So using those higher time frames or those like weekly markups coming in on, your Sunday night or Monday morning and just kind of like looking at the higher time frames, overall idea of like, what is this pair doing? Or in your case, NASDAQ, what has it been doing? It's kind of good to have that in the back of your head. So that way, like when you're dropping lower and lower each time frame, you have that bias of like, okay, but I know what the overall has been doing. And that's huge. Trading with the overall trend, as you guys all know from like trading 101, like the trend is your friend. So trade with it. Don't fight the momentum and try to go against it. Even on the 1 minute time frame, that helps. So again, like Todd said, setting those signals, I think is a great idea in the direction that you want to trade. That's actually such a good tip. And I think that's huge. So congratulations though. I think it's great to see you go from a team, although I'm bitter, go from a team that you felt like you were struggling and it wasn't really making sense to
you still did really good in season 1 with StairMaster, and then you went to DeLorean and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna do even better. So
yeah, you probably knew more than you realized, but sometimes it's nice to have it broken down at that level of like, take everything apart, figure out how it works. And I think DeLorean kind of forces you to do that. Find the divergence, find the price action, look at the market structure. It forces you to do that. Whereas the other strategies don't necessarily make you do that. Yeah. But learning those basics, you have to know those basics to really be able to succeed. Once you learn them, you'll be able to pick up a lot of the other strategies so much faster now because you have that core knowledge, like you have that base knowledge and how to apply it. And on the hardest time frame, which in my opinion, the 1 minute's the hardest time frame, and with like the NASDAQ, which is very volatile. So you would be bored on Forex pairs probably at this point, but you would be very good at analyzing them. So huge congratulations on that. And congrats to all of you guys. I can't believe how many perfect people there are this month. Like it's really,
it was really cool seeing that. But now we'll segment to the teams that unfortunately weren't able to represent themselves. So coming in 5th place was 3 Line Strike. I tried to get Crow to join, but unfortunately he had work. But Crow was able to get 19 out of 21 profitable days for 3 Line Strike. And he also did really, really well in season 1. And then, unfortunately, Artie couldn't make it, but Artie actually finished in the top 15 this season as well. So Artie did very good. He also added an in-depth 3 Line Strike video on the website for those interested who are members of the TTF community. If not, shameless plug. Link down below. And then like they had some really good returners that came in, like Bali Trader had a return, Nightcast did really well, Tiagar, probably mispronouncing that, I'm sorry, Varpaleg, and then the mascot himself, Carl FX, was obviously there spewing his nonsense in Battlefield chat. But 3 Line Strike, y'all did very well. And
you guys, that's another harder strategy. Candlestick patterns aren't always the easiest. So I really like when I see you guys, like the people who stuck with it are like, no, and they're mastering it. And it takes some time. Be patient with yourselves. 30 days, 1 month to learn a strategy and master it. Like that's outrageous. So like, you have to give yourselves time, be patient. And if you're seeing progression, that's the idea. Do you see the progression? Keep with it. Keep sticking with it. Like Josiah said, don't just throw it in the trash because you're like, this is trash. A couple of days. Give yourself a fair chance to really learn it. Give the markets a fair chance to show you what it can and cannot do. You may have just entered in on a bad day in the market. Give everything a chance to really work itself out. But people have been doing that with 3-line strikers. So congratulations to all of those people that Jay just listed. You guys are a good team, and I really am happy with the way that you guys all support each other in there, because Artie's busy. He's not always in there helping. He helped as much as he could this season. He was a lot more active, but the people who have stepped up, the vets there, that has been huge. And we pulled Ken out of there. Last season, Ken was in there helping, but we pulled Ken out to go to the butchers. So you guys are kind of on your own as far as the vets, really in the All-Stars, stepping up to help one another. So thank you very much for doing that. And you did such a good job for the new people coming in. They were all very grateful for it. So
can I just add one thing, if it's okay?
Yeah.
One of the things that I really loved about Strategy Wars was just the camaraderie within each of the groups. Like my first season, I was in 3-line strike, and I would have terrible days, and I would post about them, and so many people would be like, "It's okay, don't give up." People would DM me. They would try to help me. They'd offer me, this is what I do. They would offer me, moral support, and then to see it. The same thing in StairMaster, where it's just everybody helps everybody. It's it's so that's why the points
no bad vibes
don't
are
even
allowed.
matter, because it was I never got the sense that we were really competing against other people. It was more everyone's just trying to make some money, and
Trying to be
everyone,
the best they can be.
yeah. And it was just so nice to
see
see everybody help each other. It was really nice.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably what I'm going to miss the most.
Oh, well, it will be back, Todd. Don't worry.
We'll be back.
The rooms are all still there for you guys as well. So you can come on into the rooms and still talk. But we do open them up to the public. They are open now for the next couple months till season 3. And there is a beauty in having them kind of closed off, where you do get to form those smaller relationships, tighter relationships with the people coming
Find
in
your
and talking to
RJD,
them.
find your Luke, find your Bear, find your Sven.
So we do that during the Strategy Wars. And then once the season's over, we open it up for everyone else to come in and start learning and helping. And but I agree. I think that there's a good vibes only that we kind of had, but you guys in the community are what make that the vibe. And we're so grateful for that, because you guys are all coming in very serious. You want to learn this. And that's what's, I think, is so obvious when we look at it. You guys really truly want to learn, which makes it easier for other people to want to help you. When you see people want something, it makes everyone else want to step in and say, "Oh, I'll help you," and we agree. I love the team mentality, and Jay agreed with that too.
Last but not least, we have Happy Trail, who finished 6th place. Christy's baby.
I feel so bad.
Abandoned baby, actually. I
gave it up. I just gave that baby up.
Shout out to Alex, who is the captain of Happy Trail this season, who is the 5th and final person who was perfect. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it this season. He had kind of a little family trip that he did. But shout out to you. He was like, man, I really wish I could have made it. But
Alex is out spending his profits. Alex was like, see yous, I'm spending my profits. I'm hanging out with family.
Alex, just for reference, is the person who talked about smart money concept with us in episode 2, just in case y'all kind of wondering. So he was able to implement his strategy that he talked about with smart money concept and meshing it in with Happy Trail and doing a perfect month with that as well. And shout out to Jeremy, who was a veteran for Happy Trail. And also shout out to Azrael. He didn't compete this season. He was a little bit late, but I added him in because he has a lot of good advice for people. And he's really good at pep talk. He's good at pep talk. He's good at lifting up people.
He's a good cheerleader for sure. Yeah. So he wasn't actually competing in Happy Trail, but he was in the room helping them and kind of just keeping spirits high, as we just heard from Todd talking about how, a lot of the rooms were like that. And so thank you for doing that. We did have Miss Navy, who was unable to do season 2 due to family stuff. And she was supposed to be in there as well.
You were missed, madam.
You were very missed, but she is back now, slowly getting back into the groove of things now that she is back with us. So, she is around too as well. So if you guys don't overwhelm her, but if you guys have questions, she will be back as well. And she's another vet of Happy Trail. Yeah. But Happy Trail, I do love that strategy, and I just feel bad because I feel like it could do really well So
Well, I mean, certain people did do really well with it. It's just like from like a
Yeah.
majority standpoint, there was a lot of people.
the newer
that,
people
yeah.
they need a little more guidance,
Like
and
shout
I
out
have let them
Zygo,
down.
shout out Osbar Trade who'd come back from season 1 who did really well. Actually, shout out Carl too. He was kind of the top scorer for all of Strategy Wars. Actually, he was able to pass a real funded account with Happy Trail and also pass a free funded trial too. So, stud, congratulations, Carl. But yeah, Happy Trail's good. It's just
Happy Trail's good. I know. I feel like it's just looking bad this season, and I feel guilty for it. But we'll see. Season 3, I probably will have to change things up because
some
I
off-season
can't believe
movements.
you are going to be fine. The thing is, Samurais are so good. You're the most consistent. I can't keep staying. The other
ESPN
guys
8's
are
going to be
getting
talking
mad.
about
The
this.
other guys are getting mad. Yeah, right. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I mean, selfishly, I'm a creature of habit. So like, I have mastered the samurai, idea of wake up, trade, get done within like a couple of like minutes, and I'm done for the day now. And there is a part of me that's like starting to like it. I hated it in the beginning, as Jay knows. I would curse a lot at the trading view, but then I started kind of getting into the routine, and now I'm like, man. Like the selfish part of me wants to take the easy route and just do StairMaster again for season 3, but it's unfair for me. You guys are so good. Like Samurais are good. You guys are good. You barely needed me this season to actually like help in the room. So I feel like I have to go to a room that maybe needs a little more love. DeLorean, I don't know. You won't see me in DeLorean.
I can teach you some Aussie slang, Christy.
Boy.
That is true.
Boy,
I feel like I would like a daily Aussie slang room. That could be nice. Because as many of you may not know, in the Outback room, every day they did like this like Aussie slang word. I don't know,
learn
every
so
day
much.
You learn something new. What was the word you taught me?
She'll be apples.
Yeah, she'll be apples. I haven't gotten. Well, here it is. Here it's moments
There
to
you
shine.
go.
I was like, I'm gonna find a way to just slither that into like a
I'm still
podcast
expecting it in a few other podcasts,
True.
Yeah, it just means like it's fine. Everything will be fine, right?
Yeah, it should be fun. Yeah, no
All
worries.
right. So she'll be apples.
She'll be
She'll be apples.
So random. Well,
So
there you go, guys. Fun fact today. If you learn nothing else on this
fun
podcast,
fact.
you learn some
That's
Aussie
going to be the
slang.
only thing people will take from this podcast. But guys, wrapping it up though, I actually just want to open the floor to y'all. So whoever wants to go first, or if anybody wants to talk about kind of just their final thoughts about Strategy Wars, like what they loved about it, maybe what they would like to change. Who knows? We have the surveys for that as well for people who have different ideas on what they would like to see. But what were y'all biggest takeaways from this? So we could start Ken or Josiah.
I'll go first. I don't mind. It was such an improvement from season 1 to season 2. So it's like every new season, it just brings more excitement. Like, what's it gonna hold? And if you're on the fence about doing Strategy Wars, don't be. It's fun. It's only going to make you a better trader.
I don't think we can make you worse because you did Strategy Wars. I mean, like that's I don't think we can make you worse.
I think just people get so intimidated or they fear losing, and
it's meant for any level. Like,
yes.
Yeah, any level can come in. There's no stupid question. As you guys heard, all the rooms, all the teams are extremely supportive of one another. It really is the idea of like trading as a team, and having that like ability to talk to people who are trading your style, your individual, like, because we have a lot of different traders and different styles and different people in the community. And sometimes that can get kind of lost when you don't have a focused room or area to ask those questions. And having people who are doing what you're doing during the times when you're doing it and having that daily interaction, that helps. It helps you, form those bonds, if nothing else, and at least feel like if these people are doing it, I can do it. There's something about that team mentality that helps. But yeah, any level can come in and trade it. You don't have to be like profitable every day. Most of our traders are, when we look at it, are pretty new for the most part. We have some vets and some seasoned traders that are on each team that we try to sprinkle around to even it out. But I mean, for the most part, most of the people come in are saying like, within the year or within your first year, most of you guys are within your, how many of you are beyond your first year of trading, even on this call?
I am.
Crickets. So like most of the people.
Oh man, I thought that was special.
That's fine.
No. I mean, and that's amazing because how many of you were perfect this month? Like, that's like my mind is blown by that because I was
That's awesome.
my first year I traded. So like
But
to
I,
think that you guys are doing this good in your first year is absolutely like
yeah.
And
I
although
just can't even believe that.
although it's broken into teams, ultimately we're all a family and we're all in this together.
Oh yeah.
It's I know I'm part of the staff, but it's just amazing how the trading floor has grown and what we're doing here. So if you're on the fence about joining,
Thanks, Ken. I like the plug too. Thank
So,
you.
yeah,
And
yeah, good- I mean,
like we didn't even need it.
We
Thank
didn't
you.
even ask for that plug. It's just like plugs on plugs. But
Yeah,
what
thank you.
I actually want to get the opinion on Josiah because I think you are the only person here who it's your first time like doing strategy wars. So like, what was your kind of whole takeaway from this?
I mean, I know it's been touched on so many times, so I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like the camaraderie
break that
was really
record.
amazing.
Snatch it.
And yeah, just the team aspect. Everyone was there to support, talk about ideas and things. And it was like somebody could send something out in the chat and you would have 5 people at least. I mean, we didn't have what I would say great chat participation in brute force, but
Believe it
there
or
were-
not, that was like 10,000 times better than last season.
True.
Really?
Last season was a
But
ghost town.
you were a smaller team, but the
Yeah.
people who participated in it, and and I think that as brute force gets more attention in real as one strategy wars, you will see that will change very quickly come next season. Like I'm telling you, StairMaster was like that last season. YY will know she was in there. There was participation, but there was the same people for the most part in season 1. But then this season there's just way more people participating. In
there
the
was a
chat,
good group
as
of people who
Todd
were
knows.
always active, and that was really helpful.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is good. Yeah, it's definitely helpful. So would you participate again in your next season? Would you come for season 3?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you gonna stick with the
exciting.
butchers or are you
Yes, he
thinking about
is. Yes.
Yeah, I plan on it.
Hey,
Because before I even did that, like before I had like concise rule-based entries, like I was still trading a lot with EMAs, so like brute force fit really well for me.
That's awesome.
Good. Yeah.
Anybody else who would like to speak their mind? No.
I think it's what a lot of people I can imagine coming to this sort of thing. The internet can be a bit of a mean place, a bit of a scary place, and I can imagine when it's you're coming into a community, it can feel like it could be just the same thing. But this community has been so unique compared to any other kind of community. I mean, this is my only trading community, so I don't know about any other trading communities.
No,
but
you're
just-
right. No, you didn't. No, we'll edit that out. We'll edit that out. You're completely right.
We'll leave it. It's honest. No, we are different. I have been in other communities, and I really am always amazed at how amazing the people are that come in and how good you guys are all to each other. Like it really is like a good vibes only kind of place.
The
like,
positivity is
insane.
just crazy, and it's infectious, and I know everyone has bad days and whatnot, but you'll always have encouragement. I constantly go over to the mindset room, and I may not like actively chat too much in there, but I'll read, other people having similar feelings to what I'm feeling, and I'll go and like read the pinned comments and things like that. And it's just things like that just just keep you striving forward, like a kangaroo who can't move backwards. True story.
And they pack a pretty good punch.
Kangaroos can't move backwards. Yeah.
Wow, we're learning
Fun
all
fact.
kinds of things.
There's
Today.
so many fun
I'm
facts
just-
today.
That's why
Wow.
That's why they're on our emblem. Kangaroos and emus can't move backwards. They can only move forwards.
Wow, I don't have kangaroos running around my neighborhood, but like
Really?
that's
That's
yeah,
weird.
they're not around here.
Oh yeah, I got one just outside.
I
Chilling.
know. It's crazy.
That's how I get to work.
Oh,
It makes sense.
Just kidding. That's what you. All
Probably
right.
good gas
Well-
mileage. Todd?
I think if there's one thing I've learned from this season, it's that I now know everything about trading, and I'll never have another loser.
Oh,
I mean,
No.
I mean,
No,
There's nothing else to say.
joke. No.
yeah,
I
he's
know, but
joking. Don't come in the Discord and be like,
No.
Todd said.
Todd.
This
You're
came
gonna
with a
get so many
guarantee.
private messages.
Yeah, let's
No.
no, but actually, I would like to say that, Christy, you said a couple times that you're really amazed that people are doing so well, and that when you were starting, it was different. And Jay, same thing for you. But the reason that I think so many of us are doing so well is because of you guys who are giving us these strategies.
Absolutely.
And like when it's like you probably had to start from zero, or maybe you had like a a loose guide, but like it's like we're able to do well because we're way ahead of the curve, because like we have so much it's laid out for us. And so like like
Yeah,
as much as you want to
it's
give the
different.
credit to us, like I want to give the credit back to you, because like
Absolutely.
there's no way I would have made it this far. And I'm still learning. I mean, like we're all still learning, but like just having you guys here to help us. I mean, like this, I honestly, like I started with $84, and I used that. And like, I was able to pass one funded challenge, and then but I was only able to do that because of you guys. I mean, so really thank you to you and Jay and Brutus. Brutus has helped me so much. I mean, everybody, I could list everybody, but like, I really want to recognize that, because, it's like, we're like, we are starting so far ahead of the curve because of you guys. So thank you.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
I know. I'm like over here, like, oh my gosh. No, thank you. And that's really sweet. And I know, I guess I just see how fast people get profitable sometimes, and I'm just blown away because
Yeah.
I mean, as you say, my struggle was different, and I did have some help, not real help. No, I didn't have like communities like this. They might have existed, but I was terrified of being scammed. That's a whole side note. So I was like, I trusted nobody. Being a woman in this field when I started, years ago, was not really something that you wanted to advertise. A lot of times, like you kind of got a lot of heat for that. And, it kind of sucked. It was kind of lonely. And we talked about this before. And for me, I know I really always just wish I had a community. And if I had something like this, yeah, maybe I would have done better, like, you guys are. But still, like, to find out that you guys are 1 year or less, and you're having you're having the same amount of profitable days as me, like, that's mind-blowing. Like, that's insane. And I've been doing this for a year. I don't even know how many years yet. Forever. 2015, whatever that was. However many years that is. Like, that's so crazy to me, because I took 2.5 years before I even got sort of profitable. Not perfect months. like sort of profitable is 2.5 years. So huge congrats. And yes, you guys are doing the work. Thank you, Todd, for the very sweet words, and I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, we offer you guys, it's like baking. This is probably going to resonate with like very few people, but it's like baking. We give you all of the ingredients, and like, you have to actually do it right, though. You have to put it all together and construct it right. And like, things can still go wrong very easily when you're baking. I'm not a baker. I don't know why I'm using this
Or
analogy,
you can go to the store. Or the bakery.
But anyway, you know what I mean. You guys, it's like something could go wrong, but you at the end of the day are the one who's still putting it all together and making this work for yourself. So you guys are the ones putting this effort in, and you're finding a way to really put the time and the dedication into learning this and developing this skill. So, I mean, you guys deserve just as much credit, because I'm not the one trading your accounts. You did that. You built that account. You built that skill. So congratulations to all of you guys for that too. Like, it really is, amazing.
And last but not least, would Miss YY, would you like to?
Put her on the spot.
Yeah, I always like putting people on the spot. It's fun. No.
Jay said, if you want to say something, he's like, I'm going to call on each of you.
Well, I mean, I agree that like the information that you guys have put together, it's like the best out there. I mean, everything, we just have to put it to use. And, and then another thing like about Strat Wars is the testimonies, just looking through everybody and their chart markups and, their confluences and why they took the trades for both seasons. That's been a huge learning tool for me too. Yeah. So that's just kind of another benefit of it for me. And then also, you can look at it. I mean, you don't really want to compare yourself, but you can look back and, if you're watching the same chart, look back on the day and, like a trader that I might look up to took the same trade as I did. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like I had a good idea right there. So it's just, all the markups and examples, definitely helpful too.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think that the testimonial section with the markups is something that I'm glad that we did, not just like, oh, just throw some numbers on there. Like, you need to prove why you did what you did. And something that we did this season towards the end that we kind of dropped on you guys was being a little tougher with your risk management plans. So Jay and I would go through and you guys had to submit a plan if you were in the championships. And we went through and we made sure, like we did it, we went through and made sure that you did not exceed your losses, that you stuck to what you said your rewards would be roughly. Like, we give some leeway. We made sure all your entries numbers and everything matched up. Like, we really went through and we kind of held the two teams in the end, like, you know, to that standard. And I wish we could do it with everybody, but the reality of it is it's just me and Jay, and there's 700 some of you guys every day submitting. So it would be nice to do, but in season three, we are actually looking to probably bring in people to really do that. And I think that that's something that helps to hold people a little more accountable. When you know somebody's going to be checking like your work, you know, you have to kind of now show what you've done. And I think that that helps you guys too. So it's, people get scared when we start saying these things. But if it scares you, it's a good thing. And that means maybe you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. And it's all meant to help you at the end. And you might hate us during strategy wars, but you will thank us later on when you are able to say, like, I actually did this the right way, and you're comfortable with it now. So but that is something that we kind of did do, and at the end of season 2, we did not do in season 1. That we were like, all right, we do the markups, but we would know, looking at some of the markups, some people are pushing it. So we were like, we're going to start asking you guys for trading plans, and we'll see season 3. We haven't made any final decisions yet, but you know, I'd love to know your guys' opinion on that. Like, did you, how did you find having to submit trading plans and stuff? Did you like it, or were you like, oh crap?
Yeah, I don't really understand what you mean when you said that you could just look at a markup and know that people were full of shit. That's what you, I don't know, because I was just
It's
like,
well, it's an art.
Like how would they know? Like I'm just curious, like what were the red flags to you that you were like, wait a minute?
I would say we don't show pictures on here. I don't want to call people out either. Like,
okay. All right.
But there are, so when you look at your lot size, or you look at your points that you're moving, and you're looking at your markup, and there's just ways that
position
we
of
just
the
know
trade when you exited, and
there's just things that we know as experienced traders that, like, if you actually took that trade, or if it ran, or a lot of times, what we find is people just don't place stop losses. They'll place a trade during, you know, when they're trying to do this stuff, they'll place a trade and they just hold it till the cows come home, you know, until finally it goes in profit. And your drawdown would have been absolutely absurd in comparison to what your lot size was. And when we look at your lot size and we look at your entry,
losses were way bigger than your wins. It doesn't really make sense of that nature. And like, there were
people who were taking like 2-3% losses, and some people taking way bigger. And the loss at 4, I think somebody had like a 10% loss at one point, and we're like, wow.
And they would like over risk their way back into profit and be like, positive point for the day.
Right. But the profits were like, maybe not even 0.5, like maybe 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, like, and very small. And like, that's poor risk management. You would never let a trade go 10% negative and then try to come back by 0.2, 0.3, 0.5. You're not holding the trades. And when you're looking at the markups, you're like, if you had just held, you actually could have had, marked it up correctly. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff we can just see. That comes with experience.
A little negative thing, but granted, majority of the people did everything correctly.
Most people did, yeah. It was just a few people, and those are the people where we said, you know, we want to do this because at the end of the day, you're not learning, you're just playing the game now, and the game is fun. It's meant there to be fun and interactive for you guys. But the goal is for you to get better at what you're doing, and you're just wasting your time when you're cheating yourselves like that. So you should be doing it for real, you know, make sure you're doing it correctly. And the thing that Jay and I have said before, even those people who like to like kind of cheat the system a little bit to get the points and stuff, at the end of the day, if you went back and actually looked, not the people who mess up their risking, but the people who kind of like cheat a little bit, we're like, you still should be proud of yourselves, not for cheating, but you should be proud of yourselves, because a lot of the times if you went back, your analysis wasn't really wrong. It's a confidence thing that you're lacking. So you should be like, hey, I actually probably would have been right this many times out of this many days if I had just followed my plan or looked at my rules, you know, and followed it.
And even if you followed your plan too, when you go back and you'd be like, well, shit, like if I would have actually followed my plan, I would have had way more percentage. I mean, I passed the phase 1 with Outback this season, but looking back at it, I'm like, I should have passed this thing in 3 days, but I mean,
Jay's lazy though. Let's call it.
Okay,
Jay doesn't
okay.
like to wake up. Like Jay's like, oh, I'm gonna sleep tonight. Like,
Okay.
he's kind of lazy.
Yeah, he had nothing better to do.
But with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap up episode 12 of the Trading Floor podcast. First off, I want to thank every single person here for joining, because this was very last minute, and they were very very awesome for being like, you know what? Yeah, we could pop on tomorrow. And so thank you all very much for joining in this episode, guys.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for participating and for sharing your experience. And I'm excited to see you guys in season 3.
And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank everybody who participated in this season of Strategy Wars. And hopefully you will join us in season 3, which will probably be around the March time. We're thinking, I think February might be a little too early, or probably around March. But with that being said, if anybody's watching on Spotify, Apple, make sure you like our podcast and follow us. That way you can catch up on all our upcoming podcasts, because soon, holy shit, you can catch up on our upcoming podcast, because soon what we'll be doing in the next podcast, actually, we're going to bring on a lot of the staff, and we're going to be talking about what you should be doing in December. Not necessarily trading, but how you should be preparing for the next year. But with that being said, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to Christy, because she's awesome. And yeah, guys, so we're going to wrap it up there. Happy trading and stay safe. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.